What's happening, everyone? Nick here once again from TV Box Top with another new TV box from A95X. This is the A95X-F3 Air II RGB TV box, and it's another Amlogic S905W2 model running on Android 11 operating system on 4GB of RAM and 64GB of internal storage with AV1 decoding. In this review, we take a look at what it's made of and what unique firmware features it possesses, and let's see if A95X does a better job than some of the recent models, so stay tuned. So welcome back, and in the box you have your standard TV box contents consisting of the TV box itself, one infrared remote. This is not an air mouse, and if you would like Atmos features you would have to purchase one separately. You get one HDMI cable, a 5V 2A DC power adapter, and a user manual. Let's take a look at its design. Its body is made of plastic with the A95X branding and the RGB lighting feature to the top. To its rear, it has one HDMI 2.1 port, one RJ45 Ethernet LAN port, one optical audio, one AV port, and the DC power input. To its side, it has two USB 2.0 ports and a micro SD card reader. At the front, it has an LED display. And below, it has anti-skid rubber pads and ventilation holes. Its startup consists of a simple A95X splash screen and the default Android boot up animation. There is no startup wizard before taking to the launcher. Its launcher is called the Lean Back Launcher, and it's designed to be navigated primarily by the direction pad and OK button on the stock remote, but you can use a wireless air mouse if that's your preference. This launcher does not have a navigation bar or status bar, which comes in handy when using an air mouse. However, I will install the menu button alternative navigation bar in a moment. This launcher has the option to change its wallpaper from a selection of preloaded backgrounds. However, you don't get the option to add your own custom wallpaper. Included in this model, as in all previous A95X Air models, is an RGB lighting feature along with an application to change or adjust the color LED settings. The app presents 3 LED lighting modes for work, video, and music, and under each mode has 64 patterns with the option to set the speed and brightness of each pattern. There is also the option to disable the LED feature, whereby you get to turn it off. This firmware, unlike the other S905W2 models, is not a hybrid firmware, and it was built on the mobile version of Android 11 SDK. Here's the firmware build information, and I've completed one update with a simple fix for multiple languages. It features a 4K display up to 2160p at 60Hz, but it's actually 59.94Hz up to 12-bit as shown here by my capture card. It features HDR display with the option to set it to adaptive HDR. This means the HDR feature would only activate when you try to play an HDR video. Under advanced display settings, there is a switch to enable gaming mode. It has HDMI CEC options, and I've tested it on my LG TV, and it works to switch off your TV simultaneously with the box. And when you restart the box, the TV also starts simultaneously. There is no power key definition options. However, when you press and hold the power button on the stock remote, you'll get the option to shut down or restart the box. Also, from an off position, the remote turns on the box without issues. Under sound settings, you have the option to enable audio through the optical audio port, and you have surround sound audio option. I will test for these later in the videos to see if they actually work. In the app section, for pre-installed apps, for streaming, you have Netflix, Plex, TVMC Kodi Media Player, and the Android TV version of YouTube. For media, you have the official version of Miracast, Cetus Play for TV, the EXO player for AV1 videos, and the default movie player. The rest of apps are your file browsers, Google Play Store, and Internet Explorers. And now a look at its system and hardware information. The developer is A95X, and here is the mainboard information. It has 4GB of DDR3 RAM and 64GB of internal storage, from which this is the remainder after the Android installation and apps installed. Its Bluetooth version is 5.0. Its CPU is a quad-core Cortex A35 CPU clocked at 1.8 GHz with support for only 32-bit applications. Its GPU is the Mali G31 with OpenGL-ES version 3.2 support. Under network, it shows that it has 5 GHz Wi-Fi support. Its operating system is Android 11 Red Velvet Cake, and it shows that the box is rooted. Under devices, it shows that it does not have Vulkan support. Under temperature, it shows that it idles around 65 degrees Celsius. Under codecs, it shows that it has decoders for the playback of 4K HDR videos, AV1 videos, and surround sound audio formats such as DTS HD. However, there are no Dolby decoders in this list, but I will test for them later in the video. And that's its system and hardware information. To verify its root access information, here the root checker app shows that it's not rooted and there is no root switch, so the only way you can get root access is if they release a firmware update doing so. A critical feature of a TV box is its streaming capabilities, and more so, Google certification with the digital rights to run premium movie services in HD and 4K quality. Where that is concerned, this box is not Google certified, nor does it have the digital rights to play premium movie services in HD and 4K. Here it shows that it only has Google Widevine Level 3 with no HDCP protection. It will require Google Widevine Level 1 with HDCP 2.2 protection for it to stream apps like Netflix in HD and 4K, as this level of protection prevents users from copying and pirating their content. You can, however, install some of these premium services, but they will be restricted to basic 480p resolution even if you have a premium HD subscription. The box comes pre-installed with 2 versions of Netflix, but I uninstalled both of them because they were not updating from the Play Store. Instead, I installed the modified version of Netflix that can play in HD quality, but due to the lack of certification and DRM protection, it's still limited to basic 480p. For watching YouTube videos, you have the option of 3 versions. First, there is the Android TV version that can play videos in 4K 2160p resolution with HDR and is designed primarily to be navigated with a direction pad and OK button, but you can also use a mouse pointer if you so choose. Next, you have the mobile version that's now upgraded and can also play in 4K 2160p resolution with HDR. However, this version was designed to be navigated with touchscreen functions, and when applied to TV boxes, it's ideal for mouse pointers. And then there's the smart YouTube TV version. What sets it aside from the others is that it's the only version that currently gives you the option to watch videos in 4K 2160p resolution with HDR and AV1 decoding. Here's a video sample. During testing, all 3 versions triggered the HDR feature on my TV. For casting and screen mirroring, it comes with the official version of Miracast that can cast your mobile devices in HD quality. I also discovered that if your mobile device has an EMUI or MIUI desktop mode, when you cast using the Miracast feature, you can mirror your display, as well as you can access the phone's desktop mode without the need for a USB Type-C hub. For customization, I previously stated that you cannot change the wallpaper on the default launcher with a custom wallpaper, but that is incorrect. What happens is once you insert a flash drive with your custom wallpaper, it appears below the list of preloaded ones, and here you can see I've changed the default wallpaper. I also installed the menu button alternative navigation bar, but unfortunately, the recent apps feature is not working because the box is not rooted and the feature is disabled on the box. For alternative launchers, I installed the ADW Launcher 2 plus the new Nova 7 launcher, and they both work with features such as long-click menu pop-ups and drag and drop shortcuts. I attempted to install and run a live wallpaper, but the box does not support live wallpapers. For screen rotation to portrait mode, the feature that's used on vertical screens for advertising, that feature works on this box. I attempted to format a 32GB and a 64GB SD card to shared internal storage, and in similar fashion to my previous S905W2 TV box, the formatting process failed. However, when I attempted to format a 128GB flash drive via USB to shared internal storage, it was successful. To test its 4K and AV1 Video Playback, using the included XO player, I will now play my list of 4K HDR videos and one AV1 video.
And only a win for Barca would be enough, because it would give them the same number of points as Atletico, but the head-to-head
So the 4K videos played okay with the HDR feature activating on my TV. The AV1 video also played okay activating the HDR feature. Let's now see if this box can output Dolby Atmos DTS:X, DTS HD Master Audio, Dolby Surround, or Dolby True HD.
This is Dolby Atmos, the world's first object-based cinematic audio. With powerful moving audio that transcends from channel.
So from this test, it reveals that it can output Dolby Atmos, basic DTS, and Dolby Surround. You don't get DTS:X, DTS HD Master Audio, and Dolby True HD. I will now play an Android game to test for graphics rendering quality and for overheating. so the games played okay. The graphics is not the smoothest because it does not have Vulkan support, and the temperature rose into the 80s, so it's recommended that you use a cooling fan during gaming. Another important thing you should know is that Google Play Services is not updating, so there are lots of games that cannot access your Google Play Games profiles. Let's now take a look at its benchmarks and where it places on my rankings chart. First, its RAM and internal storage. In this test, it scored 3,249 megabytes per second. Its internal storage has a read speed of 125 megabytes per second and a write speed of 93. In its internet speed test, based on my internet speed of 250 megabits per second, its 5 GHz band achieved 100% of my internet speed. Its 2.4 GHz band only achieved 11%, and the LAN port, which is not a gigabit LAN port, achieved only 38%. So for the best Wi-Fi speeds, use the 5 GHz band with an appropriate dual band router. In the Geekbench 4 CPU benchmark, it scored 596 single-core and 1,623 multi-core. These scores are average, consistent with other boxes in its class. In the graphics benchmark, it shows that the box does not have Vulkan support, which only qualifies it for the Ice Storm Extreme test and the Slingshot test, and it scored 5,150 in the Ice Storm Extreme test and 532 in the Slingshot test. And in the AnTuTu benchmark, the score that I used to place boxes on my chart scored 71,891, and that's the last of the benchmarks. So when I entered the scores on my rankings chart, it took position 60 in reference to its AnTuTu benchmark score, along with a 2-star rating for its limited root access, Google Play Services not updating, and its no navigation bar and status bar. You can view this chart using the link in the description below this video. So viewers, in summary, the A95X-F3 Air II is not much different, and it didn't provide any improvements compared to similar models I've reviewed. In fact, it has a few more cons than the others, such as the Google Play Services issue, no root access, and no navigation bar and status bar. And this brings to an end of my review. Whether they release a firmware update in the future to rectify some of these issues, I do not know for sure if they will, but if they do manage to grant root access and fix the update for Google Play Services, then I will have to take a look at it again. If you are interested in this model, you can get it at a very low price using the link in the description below this video. Give this video the thumbs up if you liked my presentation. If you are new to my channel, be sure to hit the subscribe button along with the notifications bell to be notified when I release new videos or decide to do a giveaway. I appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. Stay tuned and I'll be seeing you in the next one.